Beloved is a 1987 novel by American novelist Toni Morrison, set in the period after the American Civil War. The novel tells the story of a dysfunctional family of formerly enslaved people whose Cincinnati home is haunted by a malevolent spirit. Our story opens in 1873 in Cincinnati, Ohio, at a small house known simply by its address, 124 Bluestone Road. This is not an ordinary home. It is haunted. Furniture moves on its own. Rooms throb with rage. The air itself feels wounded. The spirit haunting the house is angry, grief-filled, and deeply personal. The woman who lives there, Cincinnati, knows exactly who the ghost is and why it refuses to leave. This is the story of Beloved, a story about slavery's lasting scars, the unbearable weight of memory, and the desperate, dangerous power of love. Cincinnati is a formerly enslaved woman who escaped from a Kentucky plantation called Sweet Home. She lives at 124 with her teenage daughter, Denver. Her two sons ran away years earlier, unable to endure the house's haunting. Cincinnati's mother-in-law, Baby Suggs, once lived there too, but she has died, worn down by sorrow. Cincinnati rarely speaks of the past, but the past is always present. She carries physical scars on her back, shaped like a tree, left by brutal beatings. More painful still is the memory of what she did to protect her children from slavery, a memory that explains the ghost. One day, a man named Paul D. arrives at 124. He is someone from Cincinnati's past, another formerly enslaved man from Sweet Home. His arrival disrupts the haunting. The angry spirit explodes in a violent outburst, then disappears. Paul D. moves in, bringing warmth, conversation, and the possibility of love. For the first time in years, Cincinnati imagines a future instead of just surviving the past. But the past is not finished. Soon after the ghost vanishes, a mysterious young woman appears near the house. She is weak. She speaks strangely. She calls herself Beloved. Denver is drawn to her instantly. Cincinnati is disturbed but also captivated. Beloved knows things she should not know. She hums songs Cincinnati sang long ago. She speaks with the voice of loss. Gradually, it becomes clear. Beloved is the physical embodiment of the dead child Cincinnati lost, the baby, whose ghost once haunted the house. Beloved has returned not just as a spirit, but as flesh. Through fragmented memories and shifting voices, the truth is revealed. Years earlier, when Cincinnati escaped Sweet Home, she fled while pregnant, endured horrific violence, and made it to Ohio. But slave catchers followed her. When they arrived at 124, Cincinnati faced an impossible choice: allow her children to be dragged back into slavery or stop them forever. In desperation, she killed her baby daughter, not out of cruelty, out of love twisted by terror. This act shattered everything: her family, her mind, her soul. Beloved grows stronger and more demanding. She consumes Cincinnati's attention, her energy, her identity. Cincinnati begins to believe that Beloved deserves everything: food, devotion, apology as payment for the past. Paul D., unsettled by Beloved's presence, is seduced and spiritually broken by her. She forces him to confront his own buried trauma: chain gangs, iron collars, dehumanization. Eventually, Paul D. leaves the house, unable to remain. Beloved's love becomes possession. Her need becomes destruction. Cincinnati wastes away, consumed by guilt and obsession. As Cincinnati weakens, Denver realizes that if nothing changes, her mother will die. For the first time in her life, Denver leaves the house and seeks help from the Black community, the same community that once judged Cincinnati. The women listen. They understand. They remember slavery too. they come together to save Cincinnati. The women gather outside 124 and begin to pray, sing, and chant. Their voices rise together strong, collective, healing. Beloved appears, furious and terrified. When Cincinnati mistakes a white man approaching the house for another slave catcher, she attacks him, repeating the trauma of the past. But this time the community intervenes. Beloved disappears, not destroyed but released. The haunting ends. Time passes. Cincinnati lies broken, emotionally empty. Now that beloved is gone, Paul D. returns, gentle and patient. He tells Cincinnati something she has never believed. You are your own best thing. The novel closes not with certainty, but with possibility. Healing will be slow. Memory will never disappear. But life may continue. Beloved is not just a ghost story. It is a story about what slavery does to love, to families, to memory itself. It asks painful questions. How do you live with unbearable memories? How do you love without destroying yourself? How do you move forward when the past refuses to stay buried? Toni Morrison reminds us that history lives inside people and that survival sometimes requires remembering together. The final words echo quietly. It was not a story to pass on, yet it must be told. Thank you for listening to this storytelling summary of Beloved by Toni Morrison. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more deep dives into your favorite literature classics and novel.